Real good about the company. You should go over big with the tree huggers too. See the folks that I report to, they don't eat granola. So let me ask you, why would I sign this?
This plan could cut our energy costs by 40%.
40%.
And we spent $18 million on energy last year.
4%?
Just fine.
That's typically IBM. The boss is addressed. The chief executive is addressed, not the people using the computer. It's the way IBM works, it's the way IBM does stuff. It's from top down. Now let's see Microsoft commercial. Now you see the new. Now you see the new one. It's not the time clock anymore.
Here's to the crazy ones. The misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the system. That is quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them. But the only thing you can't do is ignore them. Because they change things. They push the human race forward. And while some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do.
So it's not, when you see those two commercials, it's no wonder they didn't fit. Because Microsoft has a down from bottom-up approach, and IBM has a top-down approach, and it just doesn't fit. So they got into clashes when they tried to build their OS2 and went separate ways. Now in 1984 they signed the agreement to build Dave Cutler worked at that time for digital equipment and did the WAC stuff on the PDPs, and somehow a manager at the tech thought, you know, the VMS he developed was quite fine and didn't need much further development because that was the OS. So thought it was great, so what more? And they somehow cut their budget, I don't know. Anyhow, he was approached by Microsoft. I thought it was Bill Gates, and he was asked if he wanted to join Microsoft to build a new operating system. Because they saw they don't get along with IBM at the 85. So they tried, maybe we can do something with him. And he said, yes, but just when I can take the whole crew with me. And then he took quite some people, some say 200 people, he took from tech to Microsoft. And then they started on Windows NT. And it was changing at late 88. So in 90, IBM and Microsoft broke up, and the first release, between the first release of Windows 3 and OS 1.3. In 93, Windows NT 3.1 was shipped. It was a complete new design, and it has quite a lot of similarities between the VMS and the NT. So a lot of kernel and root stuff is named the same, and the footprint of VMS is obvious in the NT. but it was not compatible with the old DOS and the whole stuff with direct addressing the devices and so on. So it was, Microsoft was going two lines. One was the line with DOS-based Windows, and the other was the one with NT-based Windows. And then it went on to NT4, and here you see the numbers of the OS. It's 3.1, 4.0, and then in 2000 they made the last DOS-based Windows, which was called ME. It was not really successful. It was just the last. And then in 2000 they made Windows 2000. It was the number 5. And in 2001 XP was 5.1. And in this version they tried to merge the DOS and the NT together, so it's quite a thing. Actually, it's a bit like that. Everything they promised in 2000 they put in Windows XP. It is now similar with Windows Vista and Windows 7. In 2006, so after 5 years, they came out with Windows Vista, which was version 6. And it was quite a struggle because they started twice. They restarted the whole project twice, and also they had a minor restart. So actually they had 3 takes to get it done. That's the reason why it took that long, and it didn't get out that well. The approach they had was quite special, because everything they wanted to put into it, the developer and the product engineers, they did blog about what they wanted to do, what was inside, and did blog with the people and then discuss the whole stuff. And it was really an open development. One could, see what they are doing. You could feel it. You could ask the developers, hey, why do you do that? Why this and that? And the whole process was like this: that they put in a lot of features in the final, in the development stage, and then they set time frames when they had to match the goals, and when they didn't, they took them out. And so at first they had a lot of stuff in the whole development process, and then it was filtered out, but it didn't work that well. So it was a whole lot of stuff was announced, but not a lot made it in at last. And the whole blogging stuff didn't help much. Now we have Windows 7, which came out, and Microsoft changed this approach completely. They didn't tell what was inside. The development process was also changed. It was just in the build they released, it was just stuff which was working. So if something didn't work, it didn't get into the build. So that was completely different to the way they developed Vista. They just changed. And so there were no announcements because nobody knew what actually would be inside. At first there was actually just plain OS inside, no feature, nothing special. And then it became what it is. So that's one of the strengths of Microsoft, that they can reinvent themselves. And that's why Microsoft is now there and others aren't. Because they find out when something is going wrong. Like they started in 95 with the internet. They changed their whole tanker and set another course to go to the internet. To crush Netscape was not the best move. But they found out before it's too late. Same goes with the security, which Bill Gates sent the mail and said, we are going the wrong path. We have to change things. And they did. And with Windows Vista, one could see the changes. It was secured by design. I will show you some features, what that meant to the whole operating system, which is right now far secure. most security stuff got implemented with Windows Vista. Now with Windows 7 it's just there, but it was in here as well. So, and here you see again, this is the major release, Windows Vista, and this is just an upgrade from the major release. So here it was was promised, and here it was delivered. And I hope they next time they deliver what they promised first. So, but it won't. So then, okay, I want to show you now Windows 7 a bit. I'd like to start with the new user interface. All those who work with Apple say, oh, they took time. But let's have a look. One thing you and for you familiar is now when you go to the button below here, stuff disappears. So I just went down here with the mouse and then it clears. So nothing new. When you go back up, it comes again. When you push the button, it's there. So then stuff like that you had before, but what is nice, they used to have recent documents or recent programs one could see. Now they changed it a bit that when you, for example, me, I'm going to PowerPoint. Now I can see here, I can see the documents, PowerPoint documents I opened last. So I can directly access them without going through and send them. The same goes for the other program as well. So, then also something that changed. Now when how to get programs up here or down here, yeah, it's easier now. When I have a program like I use a lot, then I can go choose it, and now I have the possibility here to pin it to the taskbar, and then it will be there, or to pin it to the start menu, or unpin that like that. So I pin it to the taskbar, and then now I have it down here, or I can pin it here. I have it here, so when I would go on.
Do it again. Right mouse on PowerShell.
Here.
Yeah.
Right.
You see now it changes to unpin,
yes.
so you can toggle.
Yes, exactly. So I don't want it in the taskbar. Let's get it out again. That's quite cool.
That's no different from what they had before. It's just easier to do.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's in a different place. But you can drag it across.
Yeah, that's not a difference to before. Now you can, you can change. You can arrange.
What I meant was the pinning there is what was it called?
Yeah, it was black.
Under XP it was there.
Yeah, it was here, and yeah, it's not.
So that's
not
the same.
new. No, it's not. It's
Just in a different place in a different way.
Yes, exactly. But what?
I think if you start the pin program, isn't it that it stays there, doesn't open a separate task button? I think it was in the beta or something.
Maybe it's in memory.
Huh?
Maybe it's in memory.
No. But it's not just shortcuts. It's more than that, I think.
Okay. I don't know.
Yeah.
And when you have, for example, now let's. For example, now when I go, oops, I don't want to down. So now when